I've received a lot of questions about where it is that I'm going and if I'm going back to Bali. So I'm going to Bali. Oh, you can't see it. You can't see it. So I am going back to Bali for work, but I'm not staying there. That's not where I plan on living. I plan on living somewhere else, and I happen to be in the airport of said place where I plan on living. And I'm so excited for that move, but for now it is work-related stuff in Bali. So I'll be there for 4 to 5 months or so, and then I will be traveling around a little bit and then moving to my ultimate destination afterwards.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Global Gist with BJ. And I want to ask a question. Why are people leaving the US? Why are Americans leaving the US? Because I noticed even on the media, there's a high rise of people leaving America right now to places like the Europe, Asia, Africa, and all of that. And I get worried. Why are people leaving America? Some people are saying it's because of the gun violence. Some other people are saying it's because things are getting more expensive, and some are complaining about the governance, the government. Let's watch and see what people are saying. Then we'll be back to finish up. And I want you to also tell me why you want to leave America. But let's watch and then we'll come back and finish it up. See you.
Americans are leaving America, and it is not for vacation. It's for survival. A growing wave of Americans are packing up, terrified by Trump's dictatorship, Republican fascism, and Democrats' capitulation. Interracial couples, LGBT plus individuals, people of color, and intelligent people in general are seeing their rights replaced with restrictions. In Ireland, U.S. passport applications hit their highest level in a decade, up 60% in just 2 months. France is seeing long-term stay visas for Americans up 20%. Portugal, Spain, UK, relocation companies can barely keep up with demand. Traffic to Blacksit Global, which helps Black Americans relocate, surged 50% after the election. Some are leaving quietly, like a trans couple in Colorado, because Trump wrongly says there are only 2 genders. States are moving to ban gender care, so they're planning their exit. Google searches for how to leave the U.S. spiked after the election, and real estate deals for Americans in Spain surged before the Golden Visa program was shut down. European culture is different than American culture, and many won't adjust. And of course, Europe has its issues: immigrations, taxes. Putin expected to take Moldova and then Romania with his eyes on the rest of Europe for the new Russian Empire. But a possibility of another European war is a safer bet than staying in a country that is already a fascist dictatorship.
America is no longer the main character when it comes to global culture. Now, this was a bit of a mouthful, so let me explain what I mean. For decades, the US has dominated global culture. I'm talking about Hollywood, pop music, social media. Even the way we think about success and individualism has been driven by the US and their culture. But now, a shift is happening. At least I feel it. And I think the global talk trend on TikTok is actually proving it. People are now consuming more and more content from creators outside the US. People are embracing different languages, different types of humor, different perspectives. And it's not just a trend. I actually think it's the start of something much, much bigger. I think for the first time in my lifetime, we are seeing a global rejection of Americanization. And it's not just about entertainment, it's about values. American culture has long pushed extreme individualism, like the idea that success is completely personal, that you have to hustle everything and you have to make it on your own. But many of the cultures that are currently rising from Europe, from Canada, from Asia, from Latin America aren't built that way. These cultures value community, they value balance, and they also value shared success. And let's be honest, they also value social safety nets, universal health care, paid parental leave, affordable education, all things that Americans are still arguing over and still disagreeing about. I actually think that we're entering the end of the American dream, that the idea that anyone can rise from nothing if they just work hard is going to become obsolete. Because in most places, success isn't about working hard. It's about the system in which you live. And let's talk politics for a moment. With the US becoming more and more polarized and isolated, I think this could be the moment where the rest of the world just moves on, and we stop looking at America as the blueprint for culture. So what do you think? Is this just a temporary trend, or are we seeing a real shift in the world where we move away from American influence? And if that's the case, what comes next? What culture, what values, what perspectives will take center stage? Let me know what you think in the comments. I really want to know. And on that note, have a great day.
Congratulations, MAGAs. Trump is coming for your guns. Supreme Court ruling fundamentally shifted the balance of powers to the president. Yeah, MAGAs, you know what that means? He can truly act like a king now, or that dictator you all want him to be so badly. So when he says, I'm going to take your guns now, no judge can stop him. And you MAGAs are going, no, Trump's not going to take our guns. Did y'all forget this little chestnut?
For others, allow due process so no one's rights are trampled, but the ability to go to court, obtain an order, and then collect not only the firearms, but any weapons in the possession
Or
of that
might
individual.
take the firearms first and then go to court, because that's another system, because a lot of times by the time you go to court, it takes so long to go to court to get the due process procedures. I like taking the guns early.
Take the guns first? Without due process. Again, that's unconstitutional. Same thing they're doing with immigrants, skirting due process. Remember, MAGAs, how we all told you, watch what he's doing with immigrants right now, because he will do the same to you.
Hey, America, Germany calling. So I had a look on everything what is happening in the US since the orange man is on power again. And I don't blame you, because we had 1933, and it seems like Germans didn't learn out of this as well. So, but we have a chance to still fight this, and you are in the middle of this shit. I don't know if you know this, but not many countries left who partnered with the US, and the critics are getting louder and louder. So I'm not sure, but I really think that the good Americans have to stand up now. Do something. I don't know what, but do something, please.
Talk about how my black family of four, we have moved out of the United States, okay? We've been gone, y'all. So for all of you guys that are on talking about something, you ain't about to do it anyways, I'm ignoring you. I don't even care about your comment. But what I'm here to do is be a resource for those of you who want this information. So I saw a lot of comments under the video asking, case in point, where are people going? All right. I also saw a comment that was quite interesting and said, well, we aren't accepted most places. Like, where is that information coming from? I find that comments like that oftentimes come from people that have not traveled. They ain't been nowhere but outside their own neighborhood. Okay. So the list of countries that I'm going to give you, they are also very welcoming to African Americans. If you feel like you want to stay closer to the United States, then you don't want to obviously go further out to like a Bali or Thailand. But these countries, you want to start by researching what the visa processes are. You want to see what the financial requirements are for you to be in that country legally. Because I would never say plan this, start planning, and be in a country illegally. All right? No, we're not doing that. So here is a list of countries that you can start researching for yourself and get the information. I'm here as a resource. If you would like to book a consultation with me, you can. All right, here we go. Ghana, Belize, Portugal, Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia, Thailand, Mexico, Bali, Philippines, and Vietnam. Now, some of these places you might be thinking to yourself, what? Wow. See, that reaction, it automatically goes away when you travel to these different countries. And that's why I like traveling so much, because when you travel outside of the United States, you learn that the cost of living is cheaper. You can live way less than what you lived on in the United States. The food, it's much better. They're not sprayed with all of these pesticides and GMO products, right? Oftentimes, when you go outside the United States and stay for at least a month, your health is going to change. The air is different. You know, they judge us really hard in the United States as it relates to our credit. When you move outside of the United States, people don't care about what your credit looks like. And you can go and apply for an apartment in the United States and get denied for a home loan, for a car loan, based off of your credit. That is non-existent in another country. The quality of living and the peace that you experience, even while traveling, and for myself and just living abroad and traveling so much, the peace that I have experienced has been a peace that I have never experienced inside the United States. The freedom that I have experienced by traveling and being outside of the United States has been a freedom that I have never experienced inside the United States. It's been a freedom that I didn't even know that I needed. The quality of life outside of the United States is just better. You know, everything in the United States we know is just big and grand. You know, if you go to McDonald's, you got a Big Mac, you got a large fry, an extra large soda. Why do you need all of that? You don't need all of the stuff that we have accumulated in the United States. You get up, you work your 9-to-5 job, and that is the only thing that we are accustomed to, that we are programmed to understand in our lives, that we are just worth working a 9-to-5 job and that we don't have time to do anything else. There is more to life than just working and living paycheck to paycheck. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I always say that your gifts will make room for you. And I truly believe that. There have been numerous amounts of expats that I've talked to, even myself. Your gifts will make room for you. If you don't have a remote job, okay, I get it. What skills do you possess that you can offer? What service can you offer to people in another country that will bring in a constant income for you living abroad? Ask yourself that. Now, obviously, when you want to move out of the country, this is a research-based decision that you need to do. I recommend narrowing this list of countries down to 2 or 3 places, have your passport ready, and take some time and travel to at least 2 to 3 of these countries to see what feels like home to you. After you do that, then start planning. If you need some additional assistance, I am here as a resource. All of my links, my websites, my Calendly link is in my link tree. You can book a consultation with me, a one-on-one consultation with me, to get a lot of your questions answered that you maybe just don't have time to research, or you're just lost and you need some inspiration. Hit me up. All of my links are in my bio. I hope this list was helpful to you all.
My name is Mark, and my little family and I are moving to Mexico in 30 days. And this is our last week of work for a long time. I finish on Friday, and Santo finishes tomorrow. And tomorrow is also Declan's last day of school. I'm sitting in the parking lot waiting for my doctor's appointment, just wrapping up all these appointments while we still have insurance, because we voluntarily gave up our jobs and our health insurance to move to Mexico. It's a little bit scary, well, it's a lot of bit scary, knowing that we won't have the security of insurance, but are looking forward to affordable healthcare in Mexico. I figured I'd make a video today because it's exactly 30 days till we actually are up in the air and landing in Mexico. It's crazy to think about, actually, because there's so much that we have to do before that day. Stay tuned, follow us. It's going to be quite a journey for the next 4 weeks. Bye.
If you're thinking about leaving the US, you won't have that option long. And you might be thinking to yourself, he's saying that because, what, the Orange Goblin is going to prevent me from doing so? Indirectly, yeah. As the tariff war continues, inflation continues to increase, which means your spending power decreases. Maybe you're banking on your stocks. Well, it looks like we're in the midst of a recession, so those asset values might be going down. Remote work federally? Remote work or jobs, period, are in jeopardy. Because as corporations struggle to remain profitable as the cost of goods increases, they will always turn to layoffs as a way to keep their profits high. The point I'm trying to make is that there are subtle and not so subtle things that this presidency is really doing to keep a firm grasp on Americans, keeping them inside of this ever-going hamster wheel.
As Americans, we work way too hard. I've been traveling and been here in Belize for the last couple of days. And here's what I realized from and learned from people in other countries, that they work smarter and not harder. If you own a little shack on the side of the road selling oxtails and jerk chicken, guess what? You're not bringing all of this meat because you know it might spoil. You bring in just enough so that you can get through the day. And once you sell out, you sell out. You going and you relaxing by the beach for the rest of the day. Americans, we want to work.
So in America, lots of us work multiple jobs, and you have to because the cost of living is so high. So we're constantly trying to climb the corporate ladder, constantly trying to get higher paying jobs. And I'm speaking for that myself. I've tried to climb the corporate ladder for the last 10 and 12 years, and you're always grinding and pushing. But I noticed here in Belize, it's not that way. people make just what they need, and that's all they need to live, and no one's overstressed, working multiple jobs, they're enjoying their life.
And I really think that we need to ask ourselves, like, why, as a culture, do we think having more is actually better? I'm guilty of this too, right? I'm so guilty. My family is guilty of it. My husband is guilty of it. But one of the things that I have learned by traveling so much is that people actually live below their means. Oftentimes in America, we live higher than our means, right? We got all this debt, we got a car payment, we got this big fancy house, and nothing is wrong with that. But what I'm saying is traveling so much has really opened my eyes to, I've been doing it all wrong since I've been alive. We've just been working, struggling. And for what? To pay into the Social Security system that might not be even available when I get to be the age of 65? That's a whole nother subject. Listen, y'all, however you can obtain living your best life, I encourage you to go after it. Go after that happiness. And if you can travel the world so that you can start to see how other people live in the world. I'm not saying that you have to move out of the country, right? But if you choose to, know that you're ultimately going to live a better life outside of the United States because it's a different type of culture. People want to relax. People don't look at their job as actually a job. People look at their job. I spoke to someone yesterday. He said it's just them being on vacation. They're making money, taking advantage of the tourists, right? Because they're getting the tourist money. So if they feel like they want to open up their shops at 3 p.m. and close down their shops at 7 p.m. because they already made their money and now they have the rest of the night to socialize and dance and have a great time, that's what they're doing in other countries. Something to think about. They're not working until they die, then don't have anything to show for it. For 50 and 60 years of working, you can't travel because you live in paycheck to paycheck. You can't see the world because you can't get the time off and you're afraid of what your boss is going to do. It's just all toxic. Something to think about.
We left the United States and moved to Senegal, West Africa, a year and a half ago now, almost 2 years, and it's been the best decision living abroad. So the kids are on Christmas break, so we are at an Airbnb in an hour and a half outside the city, and it is beautiful. I'm about to give y'all the view. My husband is splashing like a whale in the water. Let's see. So we came out here with all 5 kids, hubby, my mom, the kids' grandma, our nanny, our cook, our good friend, and her son. But I say all that to say, sometimes the American dream is making your money in America, having your business, maybe working remotely, having your passive income streams, some real estate, some investments, and living in another country or on another continent. Don't limit yourself to feeling like your best life is only where you've grown up. Sometimes your best life is on the other side of the world. Sometimes your best life is a 10-hour flight away, okay? And you can always go back to the U.S., right? I go back and forth, but this quality of life, the experiences that I can have and that I can give my kids, it's not in America. At least not right now. At least not while the naked mole rat is in office. Yeah. Come on out here, guys. Come on.
Americans are leaving the USA because they can't afford America anymore, making $100,000 a year, yet they feel suffocated financially because the price of things keep going up. They keep printing money and the wages ain't going up, all right? Matter of fact, there's job loss and there's cuts and all kinds of stuff going on. So once people leave that kind of environment and they go somewhere else and they realize life is supposed to be lived, it's supposed to be simple, it's supposed to be much more about enjoying your health and your family and your loved ones and your purpose and all of these things, rather than spending most of your life at work. What kind of a freaking life is it if you don't do what you love? If you do what you love, cool, man, knock yourself out. I do what I love. Most people, 80-something%, don't do what they love. They don't like their job, and if they didn't have to work their job, they wouldn't work their job. So I know if you watch this far, it's speaking to you. Maybe this is the sign you need to start doing some research to learn how to begin to devise your escape plan and live a better life. Because you know what? If what you're doing is not working, continuing to do the same thing, they call that insanity. You might want to book that flight. See you soon.
We are very, very seriously starting to consider leaving the United States, and I just want to hear from someone who's done it. Where did you go? How did you decide that's where you're going? How did you get a visa? Do all of that? I'm definitely researching on my own, but if there was someone I could connect with who's done this before, I just would love to utilize you as a resource, and yeah, if we can help one another, please.
So, is America falling apart or are people choosing peace over pressure? Everyone's story is different, but one thing is clear: the American dream doesn't look the same in 2025. Hmm. So, would you leave the US? If so, where would you go to and why? I want to see that in the comments, okay? And do not forget to like, to subscribe, and to share this video so other people can see this and at least it could create awareness so that people can actually see the reason why a lot of people are leaving America. It's so surprising, it's shocking. Bye, see you on the next one.